Super Sunday. Live action from the first round of the FA Cup today from the Shay. Halifax Town against West Bromwich Albion. Bookies fancy Bob Taylor of West Bromwich to score the opening goal. He got 6-1 on Hunt, 8-1 Patterson, 9-1 Steve Saunders. There really is a smashing atmosphere in the ground. The Shay hasn't seen a game like this for a good while. It probably was that game against Manchester City all the way back in 1980 when Malcolm Allison brought the Main Road side here and got beaten by a goal to 0. Jeff Astle and Frank Worthington are our guests today. Frank, born and bred in Halifax, lives just up the road. You wouldn't dare bet against them today, Frank, would you?
No, I think it's going to be quite an entertaining game, Richard. I think there'll be a few goals, and I'm going to go with Halifax to beat West Brom 2-1, and Steve Saunders to get the first goal for Halifax.
I'm making notes studiously. The fact that they're a young side, maybe haven't been around in the Cup like this before, will that help or hinder them, do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it could work in the favour. You know, they've got everything out there now to play for today. It is a big game and great atmosphere, as we can see, building up, and you know, a lot of excitement. So hopefully that'll lift the boys. And they haven't been having the best of times in the Vauxhall Conference, but who knows, today might just lift them. The FA Cup is, you know, it's a marvellous thing, and you know, let's hope we can produce the right results on the day.
Well, here we are live in the tunnel. You're on the baggies, of course, Jeff.
No hesitation. I think West Brom will have a good win. And if they're bookie available, to back Bob Taylor to score the first goal. But it's not going to be easy. And looking at television now, it's going to be a great day for those little lads at the front as well, going out onto the pitch.
Isn't it just?
But it's going to be a good game, but I think West Brom class will pull them through. The only thing that frightens me is our away record. You know, in the league, we've only got 1 point out of 24. And yes, it's very, very frightening.
The only win you've had, of course, was in the Cup, the League Cup. Let's just pause for a moment. What's going on down there, I wonder? Albion are ready. There's no sign of Halifax yet. Here we go. Alan Flood, our match referee.
Come on, man! Come on! Let's go! Come on!
Here we go again. First round action from the FA Cup from the Shay. Halifax Town and West Bromwich Albion. Match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you, Richard. It's a formula which always captures the imagination. Halifax Town representing the dreams of all the underdogs in the FA Cup. West Bromwich Albion, by comparison, giants of the game. Well, the majority of the Halifax side are full-time professionals. 2 exceptions: goalkeeper Darren Hayes, a former schoolboy and youth international who's now a sports development officer, and striker Steve Saunders, who's studying to be a primary school teacher. 6 of the starting lineup played league football with Halifax last season, including Jason Peake, who joined the club in preference to West Bromwich Albion because they offered a considerably longer contract. The most recent recruit, number 5, Craig Boardman, only his 2nd game for the club, and he's played against Albion this season for his previous club, Peterborough.
Well, for the biggest game of the season by Peter Wright, he sends out Halifax with 3 centre-backs. Not a sweeper, no one deeper, but 3 centre-backs who will be asked to perhaps hold Bob Taylor and Andy Hunt at bay. Look for David German and Peter Craven pushing forward on both flanks to provide the sort of service that Jamie Patterson and Steve Saunders, with what, 15 goals between them this season, to force the main threat for West Brom.
Well, West Bromwich Albion have been so hit by illness and injury that in the past 12 days they've played 3 matches and used 22 different players. Today, Tony Lang returns in goal after a bout of flu. The shortage of centre-backs means a midfield player, Ian Hamilton, is in defence today. No shortage of scoring power in Bob Taylor and Andy Hunt, backed up by Halifax-born Kevin Donovan, who had a spell here on loan from Huddersfield a couple of years ago.
Well, in his previous 3 games, Keith Buckenshaw has picked 3 different sweepers to play. I think the injury problems he has in that area has forced him to go in with a flat back 4 as we know it. Lee Ashcroft will play slightly further forward on the right to give them width. Watch for Kevin Donovan, not restricted to the left side, but able to flow everywhere to cause problems. But the main threat, of course, is Bob Taylor and Andy Hunt.
Well, here's a chirpy character for you. Jamie Pattison, who has come through the ranks at Halifax as a trainee and is now the club's leading scorer. He's got a bit to do to live up to the standards set by Bob Taylor of Albion, who scored 37 goals last season, when in the 4 divisions, Albion were the second highest scorers overall behind Newcastle United. Alan Flood is the man in charge. The weather a lot better here today than it was yesterday when it was sheeting with rain. There's certainly a chill in the air. There's plenty of wind gusting around West Yorkshire. The two clubs 66 places apart in the football pyramid. West Bromwich Albion of Division 1 to kick off in their change strip of green and yellow stripes. And if you judge FA Cup success by reaching the final, Albion are in the top 6 clubs of all time in this great competition. First touch for Taylor and for Lee Ashcroft. Andy Hunt through the middle, a fast start here by Keith Birkinshaw's team. Cleared by Billy Barr, cut out by Bernard McNally, back in the team today. Saunders and Pattison, certainly not the 2 biggest strikers that you'd find around these days, but they're nippy, they're mobile, and they'll buzz round the Albion defenders like mosquitoes, I'm sure. Here's Caldecott, 19-year-old right back. Kevin Donovan trying to get in and make an early impression in front of hordes of friends and family here.
It's going to be interesting that what you talked about, Jamie Pattison and Steve Saunders against Burgess and Hamilton. They're probably used to playing against 6-foot-plus strikers. Here they've got 2 little strikers, as you say, who are going to be very mobile today.
Put out by Darryl Burgess. Ball knocked forward quickly, and Pattison appreciated that. He's got a special way of celebrating goals when he does score them that puts Peter Beagrie in the shade, I can tell you. German. And it was Pattison trying to glance it on them. A very, very busy time for West Bromwich Albion. They've got another cup tie on Tuesday night. Talk about chalk and cheese, that's away to Fiorentina. The Anglo-Italian competition. Kwame Ampadu, who was rushed through a fitness test yesterday. Keith Birkinshaw having to delay the naming of his team. That's nothing new for him at the moment. McNally under pressure. Peter Wragg, the Halifax manager, was hoping that Lee Ashcroft would not be involved. He's got great respect for the former Preston winger, who's become a father for the first time this week. Ashcroft. Just wobbling away from first Taylor, then Donovan, and finally Hunt had the shot. None of them really mastering the role of the ball.
None at all. I think Kevin Donovan's a bit angry with Bob Taylor, because as the cross comes over, whether he calls to Taylor or not, I'm not sure. But he's in the better position to deal with this. You can see Taylor just takes it off him. But they're fortunate because it drops for Andy Hunt and really doesn't hit it well at all. But this has been a very bright start from West Brom, it really has.
They do have an appalling away record in Division 1, just 1 point. That was on the opening day of the season. Hunt, Kieran O'Regan might get there. Out comes Hayes, the ball bobbles behind the goalkeeper. And the fast start from Albion continues here, and very nearly led to a goal from the captain. McNally. Donovan going in, and this time Darren Hayes able to deal with it more comfortably. This was difficult, Andy.
I'm not so sure Kieran Egan thought he was going to score here. I didn't think the goalkeeper was convincing in going at his feet. They got a bit lucky, but it was more positive play from West Brom. This is exactly what Keith Buckenshaw would have wanted. Would have expected Halifax to be throwing men into tackle, throwing the ball forward, trying to put West Brom under pressure. And what's happened? West Brom have turned the tables immediately.
Well, when you talk about throwing the ball forward, look at that. That's Peter Craven, and that is a major weapon for Halifax. Slightly diffused by the lack of height in their attack for players to attack a throw, as long as you'll see anywhere in the game, I would suggest, at the moment. Peter Craven, with the natural power in his upper body, can hurl it really to the penalty spot and beyond. He's the left back, trying to defend here. The flag is up. Referee hasn't seen it, and the linesman is still waving frantically for an offside decision. Will give Halifax a free kick and not West Brom a throw. There's Peter Craven.
You talked about him. I'll tell you what's the more important job for him today, looking early on at this, is how he deals with Ashcroft. Without anyone in front of him, Martin, there's no one wide on the left side of midfield, Halifax. And if it seems to me if they can get the ball to Ashcroft, he's certainly confident enough to be going at Craven 1 against 1.
Here's Patterson. Tony Lang comes, blocks it well, it breaks to Saunders, who played the original pass, he clicks for goal, and Ian Hamilton headed off the line. Well, that's a bit more like it from Halifax Town.
Good movement. We said, be warned about them. A little flick on here, and Patterson's through. But look how well the goalkeeper does. Spreads himself very well indeed. Drops to Saunders, he thinks he's scored. But Hamilton, that's excellent defending.
Patterson will take the corner. Lang's there again. Here's Jason Peake. And still Peake, it's opened up for him. He's in here, and he's taken the goal brilliantly. The player who had trials with West Bromwich Albion at the start of last season, they offered him a 3-month contract, whereas Halifax said you can come here for 2 years. Well, he's reminded them he's still around.
Well, I'll tell you what, the build-up was excellent, but Keith Buckenshaw will not be happy. It was like the parting of the ways. He really didn't do anything, Jason Peake, in the last part. They play a little 1-2 there and he's through, but look at it open up for him. Plays it straight through. On his weaker side, his right foot, he strokes it quite confidently into the net. Look at this, confidence there to stroke it past Tony Lang. What a start.
Ashcroft, Taylor trying to bounce Albion back straight away. Hunt going in. It breaks for Ampadu. Well, you only have to look at the statistics of West Bromwich Albion to show that they ship goals far too often. They're a goal behind at the Shaymen. He cleared off the line moments before Peake struck. Ashcroft with a run on Craven here, and he's forced into conceding the free kick.
They might have to tinker a little bit, Martin, in all honesty, Peter Wright. That was a worrying sign there, where Ashcroft was able to push the ball past Craven and have all that grass to run into. They'll either have to pull one of the centre-backs over to give him a little bit of cover, or just widen the midfield a little bit.
It's a corner put behind by Billy Barr, who felt the pain of Halifax losing their league status perhaps more than any other player. He's born in the town, grown up as a supporter of the club. Donovan! And Darren Hayes thrust up an arm to keep it out. Donovan again, who's got a little of the Matt Le Tissier about him. He very nearly produced a peach of an equaliser then. O'Regan. He stays on his line and leaving it for Boardman to deflect away with a crucial header. But Kevin Donovan must have thought he'd equalised there.
Can't believe the goal mouth incidents we've had already in this game. Quite incredible.
Hunt. That will be a goal kick.
But I think this is just instinctive. I really do, Martin. It drops to Donovan and he hits it immediately. Takes a deflection. And Darren Hayes just throws up his left hand there. And when the luck's with you, it smacks off it. And that's exactly what happened. Purely instinctive, in my opinion.
Well, he
very
was
important.
A schoolboy international, a time where Fraser Digby and Tim Flowers were around. He was ahead of them. Just a reminder of what might have been his full-time career. Didn't really get off the ground. He started as a youngster with Nottingham Forest. It's another weaving run from Ashcroft. And Craven can't do much more than harry and press and hope that he can get close enough to deflect the cross as he did in the end. Well, it's 1-0 here to Halifax Town. Jason Peake gliding through with help from poor defending, but you had to admire the way he took his opportunity when it opened up for him. Ashcroft with the corner. Dropped here for Taylor. Andy Hunt attacking it. Peake waiting for it to drop, which might have been a little foolish. Taylor's there again. Donovan trying to curl it. Not quite enough curve as he threatens again the goal of his hometown club.
He looks very confident, Kevin Donovan. Started very positively. You can see exactly what he's trying to do here. He's trying to put a little bend on the ball to take it to that far corner. I'll tell you what, he isn't far away.
It's open, it's entertaining, and it's the first round of the FA Cup. What more do you have to say? I think of Sutton United yesterday, Macclesfield, Bromsgrove, who recently were beaten here 3-0. Last game, wasn't it? The last game, yep. Halifax trying to get their name on that illustrious list. Ridings was waiting in the middle. Brought away by the talented Donovan. Taylor up with him. Still Donovan. Lambert got back. Full-time footballer for the first time at the age of 30, Colin Lambert. Known from his non-league days by Peter Wragg. Peake probing again. And he can hit them with his left foot. He scored with his right. He was telling me before the game, Jason Peake, he couldn't remember ever feeling so nervous.
Well, I think that's what the FA Cup does here. This is a big, big day for most of the Halifax lads. And Peter Wragg, I bet he's never felt as nervous either. He won't be any more relaxed now, you know, that they're 1-0 up. Probably more nervous than ever.
Alongside him there, you might recognise Mike Rathbone, known as Basil throughout the game. Played so many times for Blackburn Rovers. Who's the assistant here. How the Albion management team feeling? They always seem to produce a manager with an FA Cup connection. Brian Talbot, Bobby Gould, Ozzy Ardiles, and now Keith Birkinshaw. Ron Atkinson, of course, in the past as well. Albion are in trouble again. Saunders, as it was headed back towards him by Lambert. And a succession of scoring opportunities at both ends of the ground. Albion still with a greater share of the ball. Halifax had the goal. Ampadu. McNally. Touch from Donovan. A willing Andy Hunt, who's such a great foil for Bob Taylor. Ampadu. Kwame Ampadu, who surprisingly, with a name like his, comes from Bradford, just down the road.
They may only have two small lads up front, Mark, but what they do, and I've noticed early on, they do encourage the midfield players to get forward. That's exactly what Colin Lambert does then, helps it into the box. And as you see, Saunders then using his mobility to get himself into a position for a header.
Steve Saunders is 29 now. He has been in the full-time game at clubs like Bolton and Preston, and most recently Scarborough. He's planning for his future as a primary school teacher. He's a full-time student at the moment, training at various other non-league clubs in the evenings to keep his fitness up. But he's giving Darryl Burgess and Ian Hamilton plenty to think about in the centre of Albion's defending. Hamilton enjoying the pack in the centre at the free kick. Missed by O'Regan. Off goes Patterson. Ashcroft. There's nothing wrong with Albion's approach play. Donovan.
But again, they got Ashcroft in very easily.
Played by German. Donovan, in goes German again. O'Regan wants it back. Hunt. Taylor. For 4 times in the last 5 seasons, Halifax Town, as a league club, have gone out to non-league opposition. Here they are, very much the underdogs today, particularly with the likes of Bob Taylor in the opposing ranks. And with just over 15 minutes gone, Halifax Town at the GM Vauxhall Conference won, 16th in the conference. And Albion of the First Division, 0. Taylor. Ashcroft again. Needs a good defensive header there, and Halifax got it from Craig Boardman, their most recent signing.
Good call from the goalkeeper as well, Mark. You hear it from even up here as it was coming over. He knew he was struggling to get there, and immediately let Craig Boardman know what to do with it.
Ashcroft has come across to take the corner. That's Donovan. Got rather stuck under the foot of Andy Hunt as he leant towards the ball.
You do feel, Mark, so if this continues, it's only a matter of time before West Brom are back in level terms. There is a stiff breeze blowing from right to left down this pitch, and you know, people may think at home that they're being forced to defend Halifax, but what they are finding trouble doing is really getting the ball out their own half of the wind. They see it there, it's been held up there, not even reaching the halfway line from goal kicks. They're finding it very difficult to get outside their own half.
Down by Boardman. Taylor with Elfyn Edwards alongside him. Taylor gets his cross in. Knocked away by Craven. Slow header by Caldicott. Fastening onto it is Saunders.
That was sensible there. I was just looking down at number 2, David German, who's going to take the throw, and just saying to Steve Saunders, just take it easy, let me take it, let's cool things down a bit. We've been under a lot of pressure back here.
I do feel there is much more to come. McNally. Calmly cut out by Billy Barr. 6 seasons in the league as a regular with Halifax. Saunders. Here's German. Hoping someone would make a run into the corner there. Just to illustrate Albion's worries about injuries. Kwame Ampadu only pass fit finally when he got to the ground today to play at left back. It is a narrow pitch here. It looks big because of the surrounds, but the actual playing area just about the minimum. Which should, in theory, make it easier to defend. But it's not been at all easy for the defenders at either end of the pitch here.
This is probably why Peter Wright's going to have 3 centre-backs. But just there, Billy Barr, the number 6, picked as a centre-back, showing that he's confident enough if the opportunity arises to go forward himself and join in the attack.
Alfin Edwards, another of the part-timers. He's a fireman. He's been on nights this week. Ampadu. Nally, ball not running for him. Crisply won back for Albion by Daryl Burgess. McNally's cross. Raven's header. Peake just helping it sensibly forward. Picking out Patterson, that was perhaps more than he hoped for. Peake again. Jason Peake was a real starlet with his first club, Leicester City. He rather lost his way in the game, trying to pick up the pieces of his career at the moment. Ashcroft, who's got too many tricks for Halifax to handle. But from the succession of supply from the right-hand side, no equaliser as yet.
I'll tell you what, he's got a little room for complaint, you know, Louis Ashcroft. He's produced a stream of crosses from that right-hand side. That time he just skipped by Billy Barr after Peter Craven had been caught ahead of the play. But any time he's 1 against 1, he looks a real threat early in the game.
Halifax happy to have the throw, and again David German in no hurry to take it. Not a case of trying to waste time to get the result. It's just, I think, really to get the breath back, because the defenders have really been on their toes and pressed back by some bright football from West Bromwich Albion, reflecting the obvious gulf between the levels that they play week in, week out. But the underdogs are leading. Hamilton. Doing his last match before a suspension. He was sent off recently at Tranmere. Darren Hayes, son of a professional goalkeeper. His father, George, was understudy to Gordon Banks with Leicester in the 60s. And he's now scouting for Blackburn Rovers, doing a job today for Kenny Dalglish. Hopes to be here for the second half. See his son keep goal against West Bromwich Albion.
Well, he's missed his son make 2 important saves already in the match.
I think he might have set the video.
Oh, I think it's a certainty.
Barr. Pumping tackle from Billy Barr again, very much his trademark. Boardman, who had 4 years as a junior with Nottingham Forest. Riding. It's been hard for the midfield players for Halifax to really get involved in the game. That's an area where West Brom are ruling at the moment. But when they're bypassed and it's pinged up to Patterson and Saunders, there's always a feeling they might be able to join in the second phase. Down goes Steve Saunders. Nothing wrong in Ampadu's challenge in the mind of Alan Flood, the referee. Peake, the goal scorer. Halfway through the first half. The best thing for West Bromwich Albion about going a goal down is that it happened so early. Plenty of time to find the right route for recovery. Hunt. Here's Ampadu, backed by German. Years old, David German. Again, Darren Hayes in the right place.
Well, it's a thumping, eh? There's all sorts of bodies up there. But again, goalkeeper, position A.
Saunders. Burgess back defending now. Oh, and Patterson trying to slither past Ian Hamilton, who saw it coming, fortunately for Albion. With the throw. Remember, Albion played at Wembley as recently as last May. That's how they got into Division 1 via the playoffs. Feels for handball then. Taylor going in after a surge down the right by Caldecott. He's trying to regain his ground now behind Jason Peake. Craven. Good movement from Ridings from midfield, the number 8, and it runs on for Saunders! It had to be taken first time. Saunders hurt in the attempt.
But this is what I mean about the midfield players have licence to go and help. Ridings it is this time who is able to cause the confusions. As you're right, Saunders has to hit it first time. He didn't hit it cleanly, and I think that's the reason the ball isn't nestling in the bottom corner. Comes across a little bit, but what is he, 2 or 3 inches out? You see, Burgess is attracted across to the midfield runner, and that allowed Saunders a little bit of space and a little bit of time for the shot.
Well, as a striker, you expect to have to go in where it hurts. It's hurting at the moment. He's been as far as the 5th round in the FA Cup, Steve Saunders, with Grimsby Town. There's Mick Rathbone, a man of many parts here, administering the treatment. He's still registered as a player.
Player physio, is he?
Player, physio, general dog's body, you'd say. Disappointed, Mick, that his former roommate at Blackburn Rovers, Simon Garner, who's with West Brom here, isn't involved in the match, couldn't get a place on the bench. A lot of by-play between the two of them before the game. And there's pain all round for Halifax at the moment of the physical kind.
Yeah, it's a clumsy tackle more than anything from Ampadu. But this just gives Peter Ragg's team a little bit of time as well. I know you don't want to pick up injuries. I certainly hope both the strikers are not carrying anything that's going to affect them, but it just gives them a little bit of time to settle and reassess, regroup.
Peter Ragg made a habit of knocking out league clubs with his former club, Macclesfield, who of course are in the headlines again today. Keith Birkinshaw has been in the headlines when it comes to the winning of the FA Cup. There's Ronnie Allen alongside him, also knows what it's like to play in a winning FA Cup final team. He did it in 1954. Keith Birkinshaw, of course, the manager of Spurs in their success in 81 and 82. In every way, he can sense the feel of the FA Cup today.
There's even a feel from the Halifax fans who I just get the impression that they're sitting and standing watching Martin. They're not quite sure whether to believe at the moment they've won up. They're frightened to get carried away with it in case it all blows up in their face at any minute. All I would say to them is, hey, enjoy it.
Well, they've had so much heartache here at the bar. Really is a place that sums up the hardships of the lower end of the football scale. It's not a glamorous setting here by any means, but they're proud football people in these parts, and they're delighted to see their team go about their business here, doing the closing down that Peter Ragg has worked on in the week. Paul Boardman taking a bit of a risk against Taylor. Donovan. And again. O'Regan. Donovan. Impish. inspired perhaps. O'Regan is there. Desperate defending by Peake. Saunders back on his feet again after that earlier injury, and certainly none the worse. Taking Ampadu with him. Madison by the near post. It was, I would say, impossible to angle a header goalwards from there. He'd taken the near post to extremists, really.
Lost his bearings, I think, a little bit there, Jamie Patterson. But it's a good break, good positive break from Steve Saunders. I think you'll see here, it's a lovely positive run. Only one thing in his mind, and that's getting behind them, getting the ball as far up the pitch as possible. But as he crosses it over,
Ashcroft making it right this time in the centre. Maybe another opportunity. Craven trying to deny them that. McNally. Ball was played by Elfyn Edwards. There's no offside here, but Lang read it well. So get there before Patterson. O'Regan, the Republic of Ireland international. Away by Billy Barr. Comes back. Go for Hunt, who can bear down on goal now. But West Brom have to settle for a corner.
David German stuck at his guns there, he really did. Because Colin Lambert put his team in trouble with a terrible pass. Straight to Andy Hunt. Just watch the way German sticks to his task here. He's not going to be outdone there and manages to get his foot in for a corner.
Total of corners rise before they can take this one. There's treatment needed for Andy Hunt and for Elfyn Edwards. Hunt's back on his feet. To be a firefighter, you have to be a tough lad, and Elfyn Edwards is certainly that. There's Donovan trying something tricky. Tomorrow night, in the first round of the FA Cup, those perennial overturners of clubs from higher divisions, Yeovil Town against Fulham. Don't miss that one. And certainly we'll expect to have you around on Wednesday. It's the World Cup. It's England's last game in the group, and we all know the mathematical permutations on a night when, above all else, England have got to get goals and hope for, not exactly a miracle, but something that's obviously, in realistic terms, pretty unlikely. You never know, as Halifax Town are proving here. Lambert. Burgess turn and perhaps possibly change his mind. The angle was too difficult to use the goalkeeper, and across comes Peter Craven.
Well, we need to ask where this is going then.
The problem for Halifax, though, as I said earlier, is who's going to attack it. It's not really going to be tailored for Patterson or Saunders, but Lambert's in there, Ridings as well, but none of the centre-backs have come up. There it goes. Too close to the goalkeeper.
Well, that's the occasion when you could have too much strength in the throw.
Taylor trying to link up with Hunt. The first touch was not up to scratch from Andy Hunt. In goes Barr. Saunders had actually given that one up and then was encouraged by the crowd to make a token challenge. It was nothing more than that. Taylor. Edwards.
Although they've conceded ground sort of wide, Mark, when I was talking about Craven and German being isolated, what they have done very well, Halifax, I feel, in this first half up till now, is when the ball has been crossed into the box or put into the box. They've had plenty of jerseys in there. They've had plenty of players getting their bodies between West Brom players and the ball and goal. And I think that's been important to them.
And of course, the longer it goes on, the more worried West Bromwich Albion will become. I'm sure we've got a lot of their fans watching us on Sky Sports this afternoon. Remember, they took 42,000 supporters to Wembley in May. They certainly aren't all here this afternoon. And more concern for those who have their belief in the Baggies. They've conceded a corner. Craven to take it. Oh, and it was awkward. The whistle's gone. The goalkeeper was being pressed there. There was a lot of pace on it. And Tony Lang found it coming a little quicker than he expected.
I thought he was a bit fortunate. I think it's given against Colin Lambert, number 9, who goes in there, but you can see no one is near the goalkeeper. And he just flaps at it. But referee saw something, obviously, you and I didn't.
By Boardman. McNally, another former international with Northern Ireland, of course, alongside Kieran O'Regan from the south, the centre of the Albion midfield. 10 minutes to go to half-time. Halifax got a terrific fillip with an early goal here from Jason Peake. And by it, they still lead. Well, still, Darren Hayes having to make sure down by the near post. Ashcroft wanting to take the corner quickly. It was Boardman who met it. Ashcroft round the back again. German wanting to take an extra touch. It might be very costly. Peake, that's a ball full of pedigree. Knew exactly what was on then on the right-hand side. Patterson in for Saunders. Is this 2? It is! A brilliant goal. They've swept the length of the pitch. And Steve Saunders takes the applause. Halifax Town 2, West Bromwich Albion 0.
Well, this has got quality all over it. No matter what level you're playing at, there was no thought of just playing the ball anywhere aimlessly out of defence. Patterson makes the first run. Patterson to Saunders. Saunders, I thought to myself, has he taken too long? But no, he hadn't. He knew exactly what he was going to do. There's the ball from Patterson. Spots him very well indeed. Takes 1, takes 2, steadies himself and slots it beautifully. Past Lang into the corner.
Well, the early air of inevitability about Albion equalising had begun to disappear. There was less precision in their play. Halifax were beginning to believe that they were good enough to be in this tie, even though they'd had a lead from so early. That belief wasn't there straight away. And then to break away and pull apart a team from the first division of the Ensley League. Well, the Conference Club and the players representing Peter Wragg, very proud of that one, whatever the outcome at the end of the afternoon. They lead here by 2 goals to 0.
Well, we talked about how different it is when you play against 2 small lads who've got plenty of movement. And that goal just typified it.
Saunders pressing Burgess. Get a quick word from Nick Collins.
Thanks, Martin. Just been watching the reaction on the Halifax bench to those 2 goals. Really quite extraordinary. They ran onto the pitch almost, and Jamie Patterson did a double somersault.
You wait till he scores one.
Well, this really is a test for this West Bromwich Albion side.
Of course, at the back of their minds, or maybe now more towards the front of their minds, their awful away record in the first division.
You bet your life. I mean, they started so positively for me, Mark. They were 1-0 down, but had I been Keith Buckley's I wouldn't have been too concerned about that after 20 minutes, because his side were playing the better football, certainly the greater share of possession. We're always looking to be attacking, but suddenly from about the 25-minute mark, they stopped that. They haven't been able to get the ball to Ashcroft as often as they did early on in the game. The rest of the game's been less composed. And suddenly they're hit again with a wonderful break from Halifax. And now 2-0 down, and as you say, that awful away record this season. Suddenly, instead of being at the back of your mind, it's right there, smack at the front of it.
These really are rare times at the Shay, I can tell you.
I mean, I'm just thinking, Alan, would this be the scalp of the round? West Bromwich Albion? I think it would be, wouldn't it?
Well, Gretna came, of course, so close to another side from Division 1. Bolton, they led 1-0 and 2-1 at Burnden Park. Really imperative for West Brom to get something before half-time if they can. Hoisted by Ampadu. Here comes Darren Hayes under challenge. That's deflected over.
I'll tell you what, I got some sympathy with Darren Hayes there. I thought there was more wrong with that challenge than there was with the corner. When Tony Lang was given the benefit of a severe doubt, in my opinion. But it was a horrible one for the goalkeeper to deal with. It was up there for a long time. He made his mind up to come, but you can see there, I felt that Andy Hunt really did make contact with the goalkeeper there.
It was Bob Taylor's shot. And this time the whistle does go. You often do find that. Well, let's have another look at that splendid second goal for Halifax.
You should see the movement, Martin. That's the key to it. Movement between Patterson and Saunders. And when he needs to be composed, didn't quite strike it the way he probably wanted. But here we go.
And that's Steve Saunders taking one out of Jamie Patterson's book. Saunders was in the Altrincham side last season that knocked out the league team Chester. The record book's riddled with upsets at this stage, but if Halifax can sustain it here, this is one to take a proud position on a long list.
Keith Kirkenshaw will be anxious for the half-time whistle to go and just get his team back on track. They just lost their way slightly. But it's amazing what a goal can do, isn't it? They were to nick one now. Well, we would have a different game.
O'Regan. Ashcroft. Hasn't quite got the edge on Craven at the moment.
Tell you what happened, Martin, about 10 minutes ago. Was Billy Barr caught Ashcroft when they were way over in the corner and they had some treatment. I just wonder if that's going to affect him in any way.
Well, at the moment, as Billy Barr prepares to take the free kick, just waiting while Peter Craven got onto his feet. Hamilton. Lambert. German. Prepared to bomb on himself. It'll come for Lambert.
Well, it's a move again of some quality. It has to be said. And just how close at the end of this delivery does Steve Saunders come to getting a touch on it? The header's down there. Saunders is only inches away from getting a vital touch. And at the end of the day, Lambert's header falls in between the target and the onrushing attacker. Look at that.
Taylor. Hunt alongside him. Bob Taylor making something for himself on the left foot. But you talk to the Halifax fans, and they say that in the Vauxhall Conference, they feel their team plays too much football. So maybe they are suited for this sort of match that you would expect to be a struggle. It's not turning out that way. They're playing with style and sophistication. They've needed a considerable amount of help from their goalkeeper. You'd expect that. They've got a free kick now for a tackle from behind by Darryl Burgess.
Yeah, they've had to defend at times for long spells, you would imagine. But when they've broke with the ball, Mark, they've been prepared to do this sort of thing. They roll it into strikers who come short and show for it and have good movement. I don't see any signs of them, even when they're under pressure, have just been lumping it anywhere.
Well, Jason Peake, who's scored one, has been involved in the build-up to another. That's deflected, and there would have been nothing that Tony Lang could have done if that had been a yard lower.
He gave it up, didn't he, the goalkeeper? Because, as you say, nothing on earth he could have done to stop it. She's going left. The ball dips another yard. Halifax are 3 up.
Patterson had pulled away intelligently. It wasn't quite deep enough for him. He's got it back now. He's a real chatterbox, Jamie Patterson. Imagine what he'll be saying at half-time. There'll be some serious words from Keith Birkinshaw. Bernard McNally going for the ball, who was in the Albion side that lost at home to Woking. And they felt that very, very deeply. The club cost Brian Talbot his job, of course, as the manager. German. Headed back by Hamilton.
Probably one of the first loose balls that David German's played all game.
It's a good stretch by Lambert. Very important for Halifax that they do nothing silly in the closing seconds of the first half here.
I think that's a little example of the way they play up to the front men. Nice build up the midfield area, but then as soon as they can play it in behind for the 2 strikers to run onto, then they'll certainly look to do that.
Patterson trying to chip Lang here. And they're not quite getting the elevation on it. But there's little live wire sending shockwaves through Albion again.
Well, always want to run behind. He makes his mind up early, I felt there, too early possibly, that he's going to try and chip the goalkeeper. Another little look, and he would have seen that his strike partner was thundering in the far post looking for a ball.
Peter Wragg has left the dugout, heading for the dressing room, composing his thoughts. Taylor. Purdue pushing forward, Hunt wanting it eased on, but it didn't come straight away as Andy Hunt wanted it. Albion have got a throw. Alan Flood, the referee, has a look at it, stopwatch. He's already added on a couple of extra minutes. Donovan thinking it back in again. Ampadu. O'Regan. Free in the middle for West Bromwich Albion. Ampadu has found a route of his own, and it's off the line by Craven, and it hits the outside of the netting from Donovan. Peter Craven, with no room to manoeuvre there, found himself in the perfect position defensively.
Oh, that's great defending, it really is, Mark. At times like that, you know, defenders sometimes don't realise the danger or don't spot it, but Craven does. He gambles that something might happen. It takes a wicked deflection to beat the goalkeeper, and that's as good as a goal. It really is.
It's half-time at the Shay. Craven preserving a 2-goal lead. Steve Saunders got the second goal. The move started by Jason Peake, whose first effort really lit the fuse to a magnificent cup tie here at the Shay. At half-time, it's Halifax Town 2, West Bromwich Albion 0. Well, they've got to get at least 2 to avoid considerable ignominy here at the Shay in the 45 minutes that remain. There's 2 lively front men, Saunders and Patterson, getting the second half underway. Donovan. Cross comes Barr, one of the 3 central defenders employed by the Halifax manager Peter Wragg in his first season with the club, brought in because of his knowledge of the non-league scene.
Well, we start where we left off. Albion, again, pushing forward, looking to get back into the game.
Hunt's cross. Taylor climbing with Elfyn Edwards, who has been pretty close to him throughout.
It's been a really smart move for me, the 3 centre-backs, because I do think they needed them today. Because there have been times when one of them has been caught out of position, but the other 2 have been there to step in, and that's been vital.
A really outstanding non-league player in his time, Elfyn Edwards, Welsh semi-professional international. Barr going once and then hesitating the second time. Lofted long by Lambert. Tony Lang beaten by goals from Peake and Saunders. Caldecott with a throw. Saunders hustling O'Regan. Quick word from Nick Collins down by the dugouts there. Nick.
Thanks, Martin. I don't know whether it's a kidology or not, but Peter Wragg reckons that Halifax are a bit fortunate to be ahead. He's very concerned by the threat that Albion have posed down the flanks, especially Lee Ashcroft, though he did admit every time Halifax attack, they also look as if they're going to score. Keith Birkinshaw says we've just got to keep going the way we are and don't panic.
Easier said than done.
It is. I couldn't agree more, actually, with the assessment from Peter Wragg. I wouldn't be at all overconfident that it was going to stay like this, because Albion certainly did threaten that first half.
Long throw again from Craven. Hunt trying to hold off Boardman. He wasn't to be denied. Riding's going in. Whistle goes, it's not for a foul, as Albion hoped. It's for a throw to Halifax. Craven waiting this time, and Edwards is making his way up to join the tall Ridings. He goes in now. Cleared by Hamilton. Held up well by Taylor. Now, can Albion put their passes together from here? Donovan to Ashcroft. He rather checks back on himself. And Darren Hayes wasn't prepared to take the risk that that was a back pass, when really it was a deflection. I think he'd have been able to handle it with a fair amount of licence from the referee.
Hope he doesn't pay for that in the worst possible way, Martin, I really do.
He hasn't. That's a difficulty for goalkeepers now.
I was a bit surprised with Lee Ashcroft there. He had a wonderful opportunity in all of the first half. He was looking to go on the outside, and the one time when it opened up in a real positive position for him, he checked back inside and really just ran out of ground.
Helped on by Peake, who's trying to put on a performance here to impress other clubs to get back into the league. He's certainly caught the eye. That's caught the eye of the referee, the foul by Craven. Sure, with instructions to get as close to Ashcroft as often as he can. While Craven was still talking to the referee. He tried to get the ball to Lee Ashcroft, which Alan Flood recognised he shouldn't allow. Back in tandem again, the two on this near touch line. Ahead of Caldecott. Hamilton. Not pulling away, calling for a long one towards the edge of the area, but that was nothing like a long one. Lambert. Looking leggy at times, but effective. Peak. Patterson with that clever change of direction, low sense of gravity. Ridings ploughing a furrow through the middle. Can he reach it? As Lang came off his line. And a game that produced, what, 20 shots in the first half is continuing along the same theme in the second half.
He's done well today, Ridings, with that bust from midfield.
Saunders. It's only Patterson in the middle, but he'll be joined now as Halifax have a corner. Albion leaving two out. Clear their lines quickly if they can. Try and play on the break here. Donovan's on the ball. One of the two upfield had to come short to try and give an angle. He's found now by O'Regan. Donovan. Forward by Elfyn Edwards, just happy to get to the ball.
They've worked really hard, Mark. No, every one of them, the Halifax side, every one of the outfield players has really been at it. Peter Wragg really couldn't have asked for any more up to now, certainly in the effort stakes, and I'm sure he's been very pleased with the football they've played when they've had possession.
Barr trying to let it run out of play. Albion have got the throw. Barr cuts it out. And of course, we should emphasise again that the majority of the Halifax side are full-time professionals, so unlike many of the cup ties yesterday between the part-timers and the bigger names from the league side, Halifax should be able to sustain their physical efforts.
A lot of smaller sides lost goals late on yesterday, didn't they? Perhaps tiredness did play a part in that. But as you say, with full-time players, that shouldn't be a problem for Halifax.
Not only full-time training every morning, but often in severe weather conditions as well. They're a tough bunch. Saunders, who is one of the part-timers, but you'd never guess from the amount of running that he's put in. Craven. And still came to the club as a winger.
That's a pity. It was a smashing run, and a pity he didn't provide us with a cross to do it justice. Very positive. Little nutmegs there. Darren Burgess won't be happy. Defenders never like getting nutmegged.
Craven again. Easily hit to the path of Patterson. Lovely first touch, crisply delivered to Saunders. Ridings. Is Halifax playing the football? German. Oh, it's very important for Albion that Caldecott got his head to that. Peak had taken up a good position, making a run on the blind side. The alarm bells ring when Ashcroft's in possession. Flags up for offside against Taylor.
You do get games when you're thinking that 2-0 up, unless something extraordinary happens, the game's over. But I just don't get that feeling today at all. You know, even at 2-0 up, if Albion were to get one back, and with the pressure that they mounted in the first half, there's certainly something in the game still for them.
I refer you to last week's Super Sunday. Half-time, yeah. Manchester City 2, Manchester United 0. Back by Hamilton. Well, the Halifax fans, used to failure more often than success, will have been worried about conceding an early goal in the their side conceding an early goal in the second half. Not as yet. Craig Boardman, part of this three-man defensive screen in the centre. Patterson chasing. West Bromwich Albion have only ever been here once before in their history, in a competition known as the Watney Cup. Many of you won't remember that. In the early 70s, it was a pre-season tournament involving high-scoring clubs. Well, here's Kevin Donovan trying to be a scorer here. Brave work by Hayes, very brave indeed. Oh, and Bernard McNally was angry. He kicked out then. Normally a very peaceable character. And the referee keeping an eye on that and allowing the game to go on as Saunders crosses from the Halifax right.
Well, there was all sorts going on there, wasn't there? I don't know if the referee kept a track. I'm sure when this ball goes out, he'll be having a word with one or two players just to calm things down.
We might be able to have a look at the incident, which saw McNally definitely kick out in retaliation. Prior to that, there was another excellent piece of goalkeeping from Darren Hayes.
There certainly was, Martin. Donovan, I think, is the one who gets through here. They just catched him a little bit bare there. But when you need a brave goalkeeper, then Darren Hayes provides that bravery. Took a bit of a whack as well there. He's been hobbling about since the incident.
As a youngster, he was really picked to go on and scale the heights in the game. Now, he's faced with a free kick here, but Kevin Donovan is lining up. Well, the noise from the Halifax fans, derisory, summed it up, but now it'll give the chance for Mick Rathbone to give some treatment to the Halifax goalkeeper, Darren Hayes. Keith Birkinshaw now is going to try and find some influence from down on the very touchline itself. Well, the Halifax fans and Peter Wragg, the manager, will now be concerned. This year, though, we do have substitute goalkeepers in the FA Cup. And looking at Martin Filson, one of the outfield substitutes there, but Nick Brown is warming up down the touchline, just in case he's required. He'll be the man to go in goal. He's on the right of your picture. Formerly a trainee at Norwich City. Behind him, Nicky Reed, who was here with Manchester City there he is, in 1980 in the third round of the FA Cup. Malcolm Allison and all. Halifax then of the 4th Division beat them by 1-0. Surely this is the biggest cup tie here since then. A match that was very much in the annals of the club. Regan was waiting, Donovan trying to tee him up. Ampadu with the cross. Ashcroft might have called for that. Andy Hunt's right in there after Taylor's header. Halifax scramble it away through Craven.
Numbers, that's exactly what they had in there, enough numbers. But they're getting opportunities, there's no doubt about that. There's something in this game for West Brom. If they can just find someone who's clinical in front of goal. I think what's been helpful to Halifax, in fact, that Bob Taylor, who they wouldn't want to get chances, hasn't really had that much of a chance.
West Bromwich Albion are getting ready to make a change to bring on the midfield player Mickey Mellon. Good work by Patterson. Saunders, well played. Up comes Caldecott. Oh, and Saunders, they're filling in the sandwich between Hamilton and Caldecott.
Well, someone's getting booked, Martin, but who?
Here's Stacey Caldecott.
that just teases him. He knows exactly what he's going to do. I think the referee, you pick anyone from 2 there.
Keith Birkinshaw having come down to make sure that the substitution would occur. Goes back to his seat in the stand alongside the chief scout of the club there, Norman Bodell, who's a former Halifax player from bygone times, former captain of the club. A lot of connections here. Game restarts after the booking for Caldecott with the Halifax free kick taken by Craven. Again, a real eager Beaver. Half an hour to go. Half an hour for West Bromwich Albion to salvage their reputation and salvage a place in the FA Cup. And on comes Mickey Mellon, and it's Kevin Donovan who is substituted. He'll be deeply disappointed about that. I think they're making an impression here.
I'm a bit surprised with that, Martin. Obviously, Keith Birkinshaw knows his Albion players far better than I do, but of all the outfield players up to now, Donovan really has looked most likely to break down this defence. He's the one who's been getting himself in there. All right, he hasn't converted any of his chances there, but the important thing, he's been continually getting in there on the end of stuff. And I'm a little bit surprised at that decision.
Mellon's just taking a position behind the front 2. He is an attacking midfield player. Here he is, Scotsman. Flag is up.
Tell you what, David Sherman will be happy to see Donovan go off. He really will.
Well, happiness is the emotion uppermost in Halifax at the moment. Peter Wragg. He's quite a disciplinarian, a very dedicated coach. Here's Saunders. Patterson on his good left foot, but not a good left-footed shot.
Yeah, it was always one he was going to take first time, and I felt had to take first time. Saunders holds it up very well, creates a little bit of space, and that's there to be hit first time.
Edwards with the header, flicked on by Patterson, chase for Saunders. Tidy defending by Burgess. Patterson's gone down with maybe a touch of cramp. McNally, pressed by Peake. Mellon, he's got quick feet. Peake. Jamie Patterson's back on his feet, but he's still feeling that nagging, cramping pain down the left calf. Hunt trying to glance it on. It's a free kick to West Bromwich Albion. Well, the game has gone on with Halifax caught expecting the referee not to restart the game.
Well, that surprised me, that decision. The referee had a good view of that. And Colin Lambert got caught when Kwame Ampadu was retrieving the ball, and he just seems to stick his studs in here. Just watch this. It's an accident, I think, but he goes to pick the ball down. They go in there, you see right at the top of his foot. And I'm really surprised that the referee allowed the play to go on. That'll be painful, that one, Martin, I can tell you. Top of the foot, lots of little bones there. You'll have felt that.
Well, the Billy Connolly look-alike on the left doing the stretching exercises is Sean Constable. who played for Great Britain in the World Student Games in the United States earlier this year, studying in Leeds. Martin Filson is a centre-back, who's the other possible replacement if Lambert can't go on. But when you've knocked around the non-league scene for as long as Colin Lambert has, you're not going to give up a position in a game like this lightly.
No way. Not if you've anything about you, you don't, Martin.
Well, the culprit in that incident has now been penalised for a foul throw of Kwame Ampadu, and the Halifax fans loved that.
He can't believe it, can he?
Saunders. Oh, they're not exactly the twin peaks, are they, those two up front? But goodness me, they've performed heroically. The ball is so often stuck when it's been drilled up to Saunders and Patterson.
They've been a handful, I think we can say that, most certainly. Nothing better if your team's under pressure either than to know if you do clear your lines, you've got two lads like that up front who will just run till they drop, trying to give you a little bit of breathing space.
All the while, common sense tells you that West Bromwich Albion will do something. But they're running out of time.
When did common sense ever come into it in the FA Cup? For God's sake, Martin.
Hunt. Here's Taylor. Not really where West Bromwich Albion would want him. He's moving into the middle now. Edwards. Halifax, for once, struggling to get out. McNally. Here's Caldecott. Rolling it into Hunt. Trying to take it on the turn. Gets a corner. Edwards didn't complain. One of those that could have gone either way. Is that the little bit of luck that Albion need? Ashcroft takes. Well held. It was Bob Taylor who climbed unchallenged that time, and Darren Hayes adds to the list of fine saves credited to him today.
Well, he's enjoyed his little bit of good fortune as well, Darren Hayes, but any time the ball's been on target, it's been right down his throat, and he's been in line with it. And we'll have to credit him with good goalkeeping on that. And that was another example. But, as you see, worryingly, for Peter Wright, Bob Taylor was totally unchallenged. I think that's been the big thing for me. I mentioned it earlier. Most of the chances haven't fallen to Bob Taylor. Very few clear-cut chances have fallen to that man, and I think that's probably why West Bromwich Albion's scoreline still reads blank.
Just to go back to Darren Hayes, I commentated on a schoolboy international. The two goalkeepers were Darren, and the substitute was Fraser Digby, who's playing with Swindon in the Premiership. And Darren out of the full-time game here with Halifax, but very much in the spotlight on this Sunday that's turning out to be a really super Sunday at the show for Halifax Town. So far. Patterson. Saunders working so well again. Peak, clever ball. Ball is it by Lambert? No, not intentional. And a thoughtful pass from him. Peak, Patterson with the early cross, looking towards another run from Saunders. Peak, Patterson. Now some room for Albion with Mellon. Hamilton. Well, here's Andy Hunt trying something ambitious. Was that a sign of desperation, or was it the kind of drive that Albion are needing now in increasing quantities? Time for Patterson. Peak. Lambert, to release it quickly, did. Ridings, lovely football from Halifax again. It's great play. Is there going to be a sting in the shots? Well, there was, but it wasn't on target.
Lovely stuff again. Any time they've had an opportunity to put some passes together. They haven't needed any encouragement, have they? It's been excellent stuff from the non-league side, it really has. Look at that, pass, move, pass, move. The movement going across them again, you saw Patterson drag players out of space.
Bit of obstruction by Peak.
Although they've had most of the possession, West Bromwich Albion, Mark, there's no doubt that Halifax have used the ball better when they've had it.
They started the season as favourites to bounce back into the league, of course, from the conference. But they didn't win any of their first 7 games in the new league. There was obviously something of a hangover from losing league status. Peter Ragg's job was very much on the line. Even as recently as last month, a certain section of supporters were calling for his head after Halifax had been beaten here by Woking.
Thought you might get that one in.
20 minutes to go. And plenty of thrills here for a crowd of 4,250. Hunt. Taylor was trying to take that with a spin and a shot that his side so badly need, but here's Lambert. Getting himself across in front of his opponent well. Well, that's suddenly through the centre, David German.
Where did he come from? What is he doing away up there? He's probably just pulled a muscle with a little bit of cramp as well there. They really have worked tremendously hard.
He scored in the first round last season, David German, the consolation goal in that 4-1 humiliation at Marine. Different story today. At the moment. And if you've enjoyed this, as I'm sure you have, unless you're deeply involved with West Bromwich Albion, more FA Cup thrills to come tomorrow from Yeovil. Yeovil against Fulham. Then it's the World Cup on Wednesday. Halifax can find some room in which to express themselves here. That's Peak not quite getting the angle on the pass, which was aimed from left to right for Saunders.
It was a bit unlucky, it just sat up for him as he made contact, but good vision.
Boardman.
You know, it's dangerous to say so, but they look less and less likely to score as this second half has gone on. West Brom I'm talking about. And Halifax have looked more and more comfortable. I suppose that's a recipe for disaster.
Now you're talking common sense again, which you berated me for earlier in the afternoon. Anything can happen, we know that. Ampadu. From McNally. Hunt hasn't stopped working. Ampadu with a chance to feed Taylor in the air here. Ashcroft. Caldecott. Still Caldecott. If he looked up and spotted someone in the centre, he couldn't find him. Halifax were hanging on for a second. Hamilton coming through the back. Would have thought that that might have been given as a free kick. Ashcroft. Pushing. The far post. Steve Williams, the linesman, absolutely sure about that.
But that's the first real scare for some time. Caldecott gets himself in. They just get a little bit of a mix there, and it breaks for him there. But you just watch how difficult it is. Look how many bodies Halifax have got in the 6-yard box. What? 6 against Bob Taylor. That ain't bad defending. Ain't bad odds either.
And it was the number 6, Billy Barr, who was first to the ball. Mellon. Hamilton. Ashcroft, always an avenue on the right-hand side, but they've got to give him better service than that. Cut out by Craven.
We're getting to that period of the game now, Mark, where the Halifax players will, probably for the first time, be thinking to themselves, we can actually win this. And that's always a dangerous time in any cup tie.
O'Regan. West Bromwich Albion still trying to play their passing game, as they've done from the first whistle. Despite the twin disasters, with goals past Tony Lang from Peake and from Saunders. Hunt. Now they're filling the centre. But Craven copes with plenty of style. Well, the officials from Halifax up off the bench there. Peter Wragg leading the complaints with the linesman for that not being called a foul by Hamilton. Hunt, there's no one there at the far post for West Bromwich Albion. Lambert. Hamilton's there, cross comes Saunders, can't get there in time. Nor can Peake. Sustained pressure from the Division 1 side at the moment. You'd surely expect that in these circumstances. They've found it hard to get into that position. It's Mellon's cross, it should be straightforward for Hayes. You can never be sure in these circumstances. The heart beats faster when the consequences of dropping the ball might flash through the mind. O'Regan. Hunt again, throw to Albion. And the stoppage now allows Nicky Reid to revisit the scene of one of his nightmares. January 1980, he played here when Manchester City were beaten in the third round. Made the headlines, Halifax did that day. And they're close to doing it again on this afternoon, and Nicky Reid is part of both of it, but he's been sent on to try and help change things around. The last roll of the dice for Keith Birkinshaw.
Certainly is. It looks like they've said to Ian Hamilton to push forward into midfield, and now Reid's just slipped into the back there, and they're going to play with three at the back, which is all he can do. He really has to gamble now that something will fall for them in the next few minutes.
Caldecott, that's looping up and away for the corner.
Plenty corners, West Brom, but I have to say that up to this moment Halifax have dealt with them quite well. But plenty of big bodies in there.
Edwards got to it. Peake first to it. There's a blue and white striped shirt being worn by Colin Lambert. The green and yellow stripes are still suffering, still struggling. Cut out by Elfyn Edwards. O'Regan.
Well, it's a chance. You have to say that. It dropped down very invitingly for Kieran O'Regan. And it's important in situations like that, under no pressure, that you at least put the ball on target and make the goalkeeper do something.
And West Bromwich Albion, who have won the FA Cup 5 times, have been losing finalists on another 5 occasions. As I said at the start, if you judge it on that criteria, in the top 6 FA Cup teams of all time, they're trailing here at the Shay by 2-0. And still you sense that the Halifax fans, conditioned to disasters, can't believe it. 11 minutes to go. Free kick to Albion. It's safely in the grasp of Darren Hayes again. Doesn't come for the training sessions in the week, he's working. So they can't work too much on their defending as a group.
Simple. It's in there, come and catch it, Darren, please. I think that's what Peter Wragg would have said to him today.
What would those supporters and that manager give for a 3rd goal now?
Well, that would end it, wouldn't it?
They might not need it, but it would still come in mighty handy for the nerves over the closing stages of a very special afternoon at the Shay. Right here on the borders between West Yorkshire and Lancashire, where there's a chill to the wind, where there could be a great warmth in the result, but Peak losing out there, and another miss kick by Boardman. Had a sign of strain for Halifax. They're lining up here on the right for Albion. Ashcroft taking his time, changing his mind. No shortage of numbers in the middle for Albion. That's Hunt. 2-1. 10 minutes to go.
Well, two personal disasters in the build-up, wasn't there? You mentioned that Peak missed the ball in midfield. It's Boardman who missed it at the back. Albion going the attack, and this is a brave header from Hunt. Terrible clash of heads there, but he was determined he was going to make the cross his, and really attacked it. Great spring here. Look how early he goes up there, and he really gives Darren Hayes no chance whatsoever. Now, how brave are you, Halifax?
Well, how brave was Andy Hunt then? The type of courage that Albion were crying out for. It was a sickening clash, really. But look at that. Completely not noticed by those following Albion straight away, with the joy of seeing where the ball ended up.
Yeah, I think there's one or two teeth maybe missing there, Mark. You see he goes at it, and it's a follow-through. Straight in, but look, he sees it go in the net. I tell you what, if they get something out of that, then Andy Hunt will think it's been worthwhile. It's an awful mess. But if you're a striker and you're going to be brave and go in there, then Andy Hunt knows he's going to pick up one or two of those in his career.
2-1, Albion for the moment, down to 10 men. Remember, they've used both their substitutes, and now we have got a finale. What Halifax were fearing. They're not a side that can look back on their history and say, well, we're used to seeing things through here. Andy Hunt off the pitch. The ball in the hands of Peter Craven, and shortly to land in the penalty area. McNally. McNally again. Mellon. Now Ashcroft. With a run here on Bar. McNally. Cleared by German. Could possibly have let it run, but he needed a very positive call to even think about doing that. And I would suggest he didn't get one. Back comes Andy Hunt, very much the hero of the moment for West Bromwich Albion. Craven.
Well, it's still a case of can they hold out. I think that's all that we want answered now.
Hunt, he's in again. A great block by Elfyn Edwards at the expense of the corner.
Not half. Opened up for just a fraction of a second before Edwards closed the door.
O'Regan's cross. Burgess going in. Suddenly, Albion are winning the headers.
Suddenly, there's a doubt. Suddenly Halifax see 80 minutes worth of tremendous work slipping away, and they've got to hold on.
Well, Jason Peake might look back on the way the ball ran past him a few seconds before Andy Hunt went in so bravely. Well, if you don't experience the pain, you don't get all the gain. Lambert. That's Craven. It's a stern piece of defending, as Edwards had done at the other end, by Caldecott for Albion this time. Ashcroft. Broken up by Barr. Some obstruction by Hamilton. It's been a The referee has allowed the physical side of the game to go, and the players haven't abused that. Another cross. Another jump by Hunt. And another catch by Hayes.
I know we've talked about the way that Halifax have played their football, and they're going to have to cope with more and more of this in the last 5 minutes. Again, Hunt gets up very early. I think a free kick would have been given in that situation had anything occurred, but now's not the time for Halifax to play football, Martin. Now's the time for them, when they win it, is to set it over the top, send it into the corners, and get Patterson and Saunders to chase after it.
Well, it won't be Patterson because they're taking him off. Here comes the player known here as the Gypsy. Sean Constable, who was with Scunthorpe last season. He's a student. He's a very fit lad. He's got great belief in his own ability. He was absolutely desolate when he learned he wasn't going to start the game. Been in the side earlier this season. He's very popular here. Barr. Sherman. Nicely played by Ridings. That smacked of composure, not panic. Taken on by Saunders, whose goal is the difference between the two sides. Peake. Here's Constable. And I say he's confident. And went for the shot. Boardman. It's given away momentarily by O'Regan. Saunders. Well, you've got the whole magic of the FA Cup summed up in this situation. The big boys trying to bounce back. The little side still have the lead and want to add to it here. Constable, Peake wanted it, perhaps got a bit too close, couldn't find Ridings. He'll use up a few more seconds. And time is on the side of Halifax Town.
Oh, this last 3 minutes, though, for the manager, I feel like 30.
Craven's call for it, and Peake didn't respond to that. You could hear the call from here. Peake again. Constable. Saunders, good touch. Constable ploughing on. Ridings too. Made some good runs from midfield, the number 8. Whatever happens, Halifax have performed like heroes here. But whatever happens, who knows what's going to happen. West Bromwich Albion. Clinging on by their fingertips. Great work by McNally in the challenge against Craven. Ashcroft with the cross. Hunts up well again. Mellon right in there. Appeals for handball. All Albion get is a throw. Launched in towards Mickey Mellon. Albion hoping it will fall their way. Oh! Over the top from Darryl Burgess by a whisker.
Oh, was it that far? Goodness me, it was closer than that, surely. They were always short of numbers at the edge of the box when the ball dropped down. You see there's 2 or 3 Albion shots here. Burgess just has a swing at it. That's all he can do. It's a difficult height to take.
Edwards got there the second time as well, just as Hunt thought he was going to be able to take it on. Saunders trying to buy Halifax a bit of time here. Lambert. Peake.
Well, that'll buy some seconds. That'll buy some seconds.
1 minute on the clock. There'll be some stoppage time as well. O'Regan. And where's that ricochet to? To Taylor. Mellon, nice work on the ball. Bob Taylor, well shepherded. on that occasion by a very vigilant David German. McNally. Here's Nicky Reed. Crowd baying for the referee to blow the final whistle. Offside against Saunders. Peter Wragg was off the bench again.
Well, he didn't think it was offside, naturally.
He's been to Wembley before. He was there with Macclesfield in the trophy back in '89. Mellon. All the pressure coming from West Bromwich Albion. The Vauxhall Conference Club, Halifax Town under the cosh a little, but helped now by the flag being raised. You can't miss it when Steve Williams does it. Nicky Reed said to me before the game, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about 1980. But here he is again, so close to being on the wrong end of another upset. Of course, he's played in an FA Cup final back in '81. That just shows the triumph and tragedy aspect of the whole thing. But enthralls us year in, year out.
Yeah, they'll take their time with this throw-in. They're not in any rush at all, quite rightly. Get it in the corner, keep it there. That's what he'll be thinking, Peter Wragg, please.
Saunders. Back for Constable. He wants to get a cross in. That might have been the wisest thing, although that's a deflection it is. Tony Lang does pick it up, and I'm sure he was entitled to do that. Edwards. "90 seconds added on. Still no sign of the final whistle. Up goes Elfyn Edwards again. Lang has got to hammer it as far forward as he can. There it goes. Billy Barr, eye on the ball. Didn't get to it first time. Foot raised, dangerous play by Ian Hamilton.
3 centre-halves have performed heroics, I think, today for Halifax. We really have. Edwards, Barr and Boardman, all at different times. They've all contributed. Very important interceptions, very important headers, very important tackles.
Keith Birkinshaw, a Yorkshireman through and through, back in the county of his birth, but not a visit that he's going to want to remember for very long, unless Albion snatch something here. Andy Hunt gave them hope, and here we are, coming up to 3 minutes of time added on. There's a buccaneering run here from the piratical figure of Sean Constable. He's got Saunders with him.
That just shows you, Martin, I mean, at a time like this, you should just be running the ball in the corner. Like offside given, the crowd think it's all over, but it's an offside decision.
And Sean Constable, I think, rather playing for himself rather than the team there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he should be just running into the corner flag, say, come and get me now.
So, Elfyn Edwards spots the ball up for a free kick that the Halifax fans hope will be the last touch of the ball in the game. But it's not. Constable. Play on, signals Alan Flood, the referee. That's another great header by Edwards. How many of them we've seen, particularly in the second half.
Peter Wragg down there shouting at the referee. It must be time up.
It is. Halifax Town salute a famous victory in the first round of the FA Cup, and Peter Wragg, a past master at producing non-league teams capable of slaying the Giants, has done it again. It started so well with Jason Peake's early goal. A second through Steve Saunders. Halifax so happy at half-time. And then having to suffer in the closing stages after Andy Hunt had bravely clawed one back for West Bromwich Albion. And Halifax with a history full of hardship, have rarely had cause for celebration like this. The club that was kicked out of the Football League in May are in the hat for the second round of the FA Cup, with First Division West Bromwich Albion left in their wake. A wonderful afternoon here in West Yorkshire. A side that have been struggling in the conference, but they've had their day here, and they've shown that they can play football at this level against teams with a passing pedigree. But West Bromwich Albion, with this dreadful away record in their division, so much higher up the football pyramid, have shown that they're there for the taking, and Halifax, Andy, few would begrudge them these special moments of triumph.
Welcome to the FA Cup, anyone who's unsure of what this trophy's all about. You won't see greater joy, Martin, at Wembley next May than you're seeing here from these Halifax players and management team. This is what the trophy is all about. This is their semi-final. Their final comes next round, when they have that chance of getting through that and then drawing a tie of their dreams at Old Trafford, at Highbury, at Villa Park.
You just saw the two scorers there. There's another hero, Darren Hayes, and I do hope his dad, George Hayes, was here to see it, a former professional goalkeeper himself. Peter Wragg plotted the downfall. He went to see Albion a couple of times. He saw them at Tranmere when they put on a similar sort of performance here as here, when they began the game well and fell away. Steve Saunders, whose goal settled it in the end. The scorer's there with the man who masterminded it all.
That's one for the album.
It's 3 years since Halifax last made it to the second round. They beat Wrexham in the first, even affording themselves the luxury of a penalty miss. At Rotherham in the second, it was Ian Jurrieff's late goal that earned them a replay back at the Shay. But it all ended in disappointment. Despite Steve Norris's scrambled goal, Rotherham had scored twice to earn themselves a third-round place. Two years ago at Whitton Albion, it was this goal that saved the Shaymen from defeat. But the celebrations were premature. Whitton won the replay. And Halifax suffered more embarrassment last year. The HFS Loans League side, Marine, banged 4 past them, and Halifax were out in the first round again.